Hey guys, Wages World here. Come out with you with a video. Today is the 16th of June, 2020. And yeah, guys, just like always, we're going to start off with the Schumann. Then we got a pretty cool sun diver that showed up on a Stereo A. It's pretty cool. It's diving in there pretty quick like. Plus, we've been having some earthquakes and stuff that we haven't really talked about a whole lot. And our space weather, guys, is kind of it's fluctuating pretty big. We'll talk about that a little bit more here in just a second. But also, again, we're going to check out some CME action that's going on once again. Like always, it seems like every day now, huh? But anyway, yeah, we'll just jump into it. Okay, guys, we're going to start here with the Schumann. Again, it's pretty quiet conditions today, guys. But something I've noticed, we talked about this coded line right here. And whenever the conditions get quiet, this seems to pop up a little bit more prevalent. And whether we're being distracted by looking at the other stuff or not, I'm not really sure. But I can tell you that I do notice that more when conditions are a little bit more quiet. So, we're talking about this dash line right here. Nobody has ever really figured out exactly what that is. We all got our theories and such. But I can tell you that it's now, and it has been this way for a while, it's showing up on multiple different frequency levels. Okay? It's showing up there, and it's showing up there. Okay? Now, it's showing up on other ones also, but those seem to be the two more prevalent ones. And what's interesting is they don't duplicate each other. Okay? They're not carbon copies of one another. So, that if they were like exactly the same, we could even say that's a tool flaw. Okay? But they're not. So whatever's causing that, in my opinion, is most definitely an intelligent thing doing that. So whether it's for communication or if it's a byproduct of something else going on, I really don't know. But that is one thing that is happening right there, and we notice it more when conditions are quiet here on the Schumann. And so yeah, and something else I want to say, guys. We got this little what I would call an uptick in lower frequency. Okay, it's more intense, and it's lower than our 7.83. It goes all the way down to 0 there. Okay, so I have to point this out that when we talk about spikes, sometimes you can have a spike on the low end, and we kind of forget that sometimes. So lower frequencies are bad also. Okay, lower frequencies are good, just like higher frequencies are good and bad. Okay, just depends on who you are, what's going on, and what we're talking about, and all that. I do think that a lot of the frequency stuff is very specific to each other. I also think that a lot of it is universal also. I think that some things happen and it affects everything. And then other things I think are more personalized and more specific to people that are more sensitive to this. Like me and Scott, we resonate with each other, obviously. Okay, that's where that word comes from, guys. Human resonance. Me and Scott are good friends. We resonate with each other. That's just what happens. And we're both sensitive to this, to frequency. We've talked about this at length. And, he gets migraines really bad sometimes. And almost every time we can come over here and look at this, and this thing is spiking. And then when his migraines start going away, the thing is calming down. It's amazing. It really is. It's kind of nuts. But that's something that we've all learned. And, we're all better for it. Because if you know why you're feeling a certain way, you have a better chance of overcoming that. Because you're able to address it in a different way. So that's really one of the main reasons why we even talk about this. Just so you know. At least for me. But as of right now, guys, quiet conditions going on. Not really a whole lot with this thing right now. At least the past day or so. But, like I said, we're going to keep an eye on it every day. And I can guarantee you here in the next day or two, we're going to see another spike. It just seems like that's the pattern now. So, we'll move on. Okay, guys, I got you over at Space Weather Prediction Center. It's NOAA. So we can look at the space weather conditions. And right now, guys, we're experiencing some pretty calm conditions. Just so everybody knows. Solar X-ray flux. That spot that was Earth facing for over a week is now rotating off. It's not facing us anymore. So you can look for this baseline to continue to drop. Unless there is another active area right around, I think it's like the 10 o'clock position. But we'll have to see how much energy it actually shoots our way. But that's to be seen. Again, the solar proton flux, nothing going on there. Okay, now this right here, okay. I'm not really sure if we went ahead and crossed that current sheet, okay, that we were talking about that was going to happen on the 16th. We did not see any crazy geomagnetic increase, okay, and that's kind of what we were looking for. Not like crazy, but something that was pretty, evident that that's what we were doing. I haven't seen that yet. We were hanging out here on the basement floor, right around 0, below 1, okay? And, now we're up to right around 2, which could help us get out of the cosmic ray issue. So, the more geomagnetic activity we have, the more we can actually fend off cosmic rays. And it seems as though, if we continue this trend right here and stay kind of right here in the middle, we most definitely will be able to fight those off a lot better. I think we're at a level now to where that alert probably isn't even ongoing right now. We were extremely low for like 3 or 4 days. So it allowed a lot of cosmic rays in, and that's why we were talking about it. Now, but check this out. Okay, this is the ACE data. Now, what you guys are looking at here, you look at the orange, that's the density. The yellow is the speed, and the green is the temperature. The blue is the phi angle, and you can see where it was doing this little flippity flop, and then it leveled back out. Okay, right about that time, and then it just kind of stayed, right? But look at the density, guys, and the temperature, and the solar wind. It was all over the place. All over the place. Okay. And what's interesting is, again, like we said before, I said this a bunch. See how the solar wind speed started going up? Look what happened to the density. It started trending down. Then they both leveled off, and then what happened? Density started going up, solar wind speed started going down. They do the opposite. Okay? And that's pretty indicative with like what we would consider like a solar wind stream from like a coronal hole. If we get like both things going up at the same time, a lot of times those are from CMEs or solar flares or what have you. So when they do things the way that we kind of expect them to, like the opposite from one another, those are usually coronal holes. That's just been my observation. Coronal holes cause those solar wind streams, and they seem to be more consistent. Okay, those wind streams are more consistent than a blast from like a CME or a solar flare. So that's what I would say to that. Now you can see the temperature reacting at the same time also. Now we're seeing some pretty good jumping going on around here. Okay. Now remember, we have to always look at the range over here because they change this thing every day. Okay. Right now it's basically 0 to 10. Now yesterday I showed you guys one where it was 0, and then it went from 0. Well, I think it was like this. I think it was 0.1. I think there was a 1. Then I think it said 10, and then I think it said 100. Then I think at one of them I seen it said 1,000. Okay, so that's the difference. We only got a 10 unit range here. Okay, but yesterday we had like 1,000 unit range. So when we would see a jump on that one, it would look different. Okay, but they do that so they can show it to us. Now I know it's kind of confusing trying to understand what I just said there, but just know that if you look at that range and it isn't very large, that means the fluctuations that you're seeing isn't that great. Okay, in other words, it's not fluctuating from real high to real low. It's kind of going from like a 2 to a 3 or a 3 to a 2 instead of a 0 to 1,000 and 1,000 down to 0. Okay, that's kind of the difference. So if we look at the Enlow model here, again, this is totally different from what I showed you guys yesterday, isn't it? Go back and look at my other video from yesterday when I showed you guys this. Compare the two, and you'll see that these things are like completely different because they get new data in and they change it constantly. And I don't necessarily mind that. What I do mind though is when they try to tell us something's going to happen 5 days out, and they pretty much know that they're going to be wrong. I just wish they would just back that off to like 2 or 3 days out and just stop it there. You know, if you're going to tell me something's going to happen this way in 5 days, but you pretty much already know that it's not, why even tell me that? You guys get what I'm saying there? So yeah. So we'll go over and check this other stuff out real quick. Okay guys, I got you over to the Geoelectric field model. This is the one that shows you space weather's effect on our electrical grid. At least the dangers of. And you can see a couple little spikes going on here. You see it got real bright right there for a second? It's nothing big, but I will say this. Yesterday, guys, there was we had some issues with some nationwide cell phone outages. That doesn't typically happen unless we're getting space weather. We've kind of tied those two together, and it's something that we do see quite often. So just know that. And this is a good tool, this right here. This is one of the better models, especially out of the new ones they've given us. This is more practical. People understand this one because it shows you our electrical grid pretty much. And where at exactly space weather is affecting it, or could be. So, you know, I think this is a great one to look at. A lot of people can understand and relate with this one. So if we start seeing issues, you know, we can always come look at this. And this is, you know, you've seen that little bright little whoop, okay? That can come from anything, guys. Solar wind, it could come from a small flare, any of that. So, okay guys, I wanted to show you this one because this is LASCO C2. This is over at Seeds. And this is today. They only gave us 2 hours of data today. That's kind of crazy, okay? If you guys look at the time lapse and the timestamp here, you can see what it's doing. It starts about 0-100 and it goes to like 2:30. Maybe 3 o'clock, maybe 3 hours, who knows? But not hardly anything to look at all. So let's go look at stereo A. And this is what I see. Okay, you're seeing glitches. Now, you know, that is what it is. We see glitches sometimes, and we are missing some data there at the beginning of the day also. But check what else we see here. Okay, we look here, look real close. What? See that? See that zip right on by? There it goes again. Now I know that it's kind of hard to see. Look right in here. See that? That's a sun diver. That sucker is moving towards the sun and moving fast. I'll tell you that. So let's go look at it on the black and white and you see it a lot better. Okay. Let me do this again. See it? That's a sun diver. Okay, the sun ate that one up. I don't know which one that was, if it was even named. Who knows? It may have had a number. I don't know. I don't think it was any of the real big significant ones that we've been talking about lately, like Comet, Swan, and Atlas, and all that. I'm not really sure which one that was, but that came from the side, guys. And what I mean by the side, well, the Earth on this particular view is over here. The satellite's here. So this thing's coming in basically from the backside side. So it's not even nowhere close to us at all, period. But that thing is coming in. It looks like it, I don't even know if it made it to the sun. Because if you look at this, we'll zoom in, you can see it just like disintegrate as it got closer. It disappears about right in this area. Watch. You see that? Then there is no more. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes the solar wind is enough to eat it up. A lot of times that's what happens. Sometimes these things don't even make it to the surface of the sun. The energy and stuff is too much. So, yeah. So I thought that was pretty cool. Sun diver. Alright guys, I got you over at ISWA. This is our magnetosphere. Okay. The sun's off to the right. And the energy's coming this way, right? From solar wind. Now, what I want you guys to look at here is the angle. Okay, you're going to see everything kind of being this way. And then you're going to see it switch. you're going to see it end up being like this. Okay? And this is something I want to show you. I've shown you guys this a bunch, but this is pretty evident. Now watch. See how it turned? You guys see that thing turn? Okay? There's something else going on here too that I'm going to talk about here in a minute. But see how it's facing? Basically, if you drew a straight line kind of this way. And then after a few hours, it kind of goes up that way. So let's see it again. See how it went back straight, and then did you see that? Okay. Now I want to point this out. See how we're kind of tilted a little bit there? Our magnetics, not the Earth, just the magnetics. Now watch what happens. Boom. See that? Okay, we're all, doing just fine. Then all of a sudden, boom. Okay. Now something that kind of drew my attention to this was there really wasn't anything coming at us at that time. But why did we boom? Okay, that's the next question. So I'm gonna take you back here and we start moving, right? And then bam, see that? Now what I'm wondering, guys, is did we cross that current sheet right there? I'm wondering if that ain't the moment that we did. Okay, because not only did we go from being that direction to tilted that direction, okay, but we did it with a little bit of a boom. Okay, now if I'd seen energy come in and our bow shock out here in the front had compressed in to kind of look like this or something crazy, right? Didn't see any of that. So I wonder what's going on with that. Sorry about that, guys. We had a phone call. But yeah. So anyway. Yeah. But as you can see, we kind of look like we got a little extra energy going on there. And then we start seeing some pretty good energy coming. Now you see that right there. Watch our bow shock out here. Watch what it's doing. It's only compressing on the one side. So what's that telling you? That's telling you that energy is coming from that direction. See that? Okay. So I don't know what's causing all that. Okay. But typically we would get what we call compression. And then we get rapid expansion when we get hit and we expand out. Okay, now did you see that? That most definitely is a hit. Now watch. Boom. Okay, we pushed out. Look at that. Now see, that kind of stuff right there is what gets people's attention. Because we got a little bit of something going on here, and then all of a sudden we compress in and we push out in all directions. Okay, and then watch this. Boom. What happened there? Okay, that was a pretty good push. All right. So whatever's causing that, I don't know, but you can see how this energy's even inside our satellite line. Okay, that dotted line's where most of these satellites are at. So something happened there, guys. I don't know if we had a flare or if we had something going on in that direction, or if it, like I said, maybe that's when the moment we crossed that current sheath. Who knows? I do think it's worth looking at. We're gonna run through this real quick too. This is the solar wind. Okay, and if you want to check out the speed, it's over here. And this one will show a little bit more exact because you get more data points than what we see over on Space Weather Prediction. Okay, so as we go through here like this, now see that those are what we consider hits. All right, we handled it. Wasn't no big deal, but it definitely was some space weather that we had to fend off. So as we go through here, I mean, a lot of this stuff does look kind of funky, but yeah. See how that did all that? Look how fast the solar wind got. Look at that. Okay, you see that? It says 903. That's kilometers per second, not miles per hour. So we're looking at some pretty fast wind speed there. All right, that's elevated by anybody's definition, I promise you. Okay, and that does kind of coincide with what Space Weather Prediction was telling us. Remember I showed you how it was fluctuating just for a few minutes there? That's exactly what we've seen here. So again, guys, I'm wondering if this isn't when we cross that current sheath. I bet it is. But that's what caused all that. Because it didn't last long. Whatever it was only here for a second. So maybe that's what happened there. You know? Okay, guys, we'll take a look at the earthquakes. I'm looking at some pretty odd ones here. Okay, this is in, that one there is in Tajikistan. It's a 5.7. There is no fault lines right there, so it makes you wonder what the heck is going on. I think this next one's in Afghanistan. Yeah, that was a 5.0. This one over here was a 5.4. That was in Egypt. There is a fault line there, so, you know, nothing really out of the ordinary on that end. But that one there most definitely was something that, let's see what this one is. It's a 5.0. I did see a couple 6.6s. They were really, really deep, and I think they were around the Pacific Rim here. That was yesterday, so yeah. So we are having some earthquake activity, and that space weather most certainly does account for some of that. It looks like we might have even had some here in California that. Let's take a look at that one. That's a 3.8. Okay, I mean, those are like, yeah, pretty much nothing really when we're talking about that area. Get them all the time. You know, believe it or not, guys, those that don't know, we do get quite a few earthquakes over here in like Oklahoma and stuff too. I know that doesn't really ring true to everybody's ear, but it is the truth. We tend to think tornadoes and stuff here, but they do get earthquakes too. A lot of it's from fracking also, so just so you know. But, so yeah, so that's what's going on there, guys. Man, I tell you, listen, there's just so many things going on globally right now, guys. Just keep your head on a swivel. You know, I don't know what else to say about this kind of stuff. I don't really like to go into too much geopolitical stuff or even give my opinion on, you know, global events that's happening, like civil unrest and all that stuff. Because we all got our opinions. And at the end of the day, we all have to come back to center, okay? And if we don't, everything's out of balance. And I do think that that's where we're at right now. And I do think that everybody is, and everything is, trying to find that balance again. And whether we want it to happen or not, we will find that balance. No matter who gets shook off on one side or the other, it will find balance and find center again. And those that are not willing to come to that center will have one heck of a time. So just know that you have people out there that care and that people will listen. You come here, you got somebody that'll listen to you, I promise. You know, jump in the comment section. If you feel like you're alone in any of this stuff that you believe or any of this stuff that we talk about here, you're not alone. Okay? I just want you guys to know that. That is something that I've fought and dealt with for 2 or 3 years. You know, I really did. From the start of my channel. And now it's to where my family come and ask me questions about it now. I didn't force this on anybody. Matter of fact, I didn't even tell them I had a channel forever. You know, I just didn't feel the need to, because eventually it was going to be there. They were going to be able to see it. I wanted them to come to the, you know, the realization themselves. I didn't want to force my opinion on them and be like, hey, this is what's going on. You know, for a couple reasons. Number one, you're never going to get anybody to believe anything you say by shoving it down their throat. I promise. You do that to me, I'm going to shut down completely and walk the other way. I just know that's how I am, and I see it with everybody else too. So if you want somebody to entertain your idea of something, just put it out there. It's called sowing a seed. And if they're willing to put the water on it, it will grow, and it will be better for everybody. So that's what I would say to all that, guys. So anyway, guys, God bless. Yeshua saves, and you can drink this Kool-Aid.